Jai Hind everyone. Today I am Dr. Sarika Tyagi, Associate Professor, Subharti Institute of Law. Today we are going to discuss the topic Karta. Who is Karta and what is the position of a Karta in Hindu family and what are the liabilities and powers and functions of the Karta. So first we will discuss the concept of Karta in the Hindu joint family. In a Hindu joint family, the Karta or manager occupies a pivotal and unique place in that there is no comparable office or institution in any other system in the world. His office is independent of any other and hence his position is termed as sui generis. So we can say Karta has a distinct position in a family. Now the question arises, who can be the Karta? A senior most male member of the family can be a Karta. The senior most male member of the family is entitled to this position and it is his right. His right is not subject to any agreement or any other understanding between the co-partners. He may be aged, infirm or alien. Yet if he is still alive, then he shall be entitled to Kartaship. It means a male senior most male member of the family can be a Karta. Barring the situation whether he is ill, aged or any other situation, if he is alive, so he will be considered as the Karta. But once the Karta dies, the position passes to the next senior most male member. It may be anyone who is a senior most after that deceased person. Now one more question arises whether a junior male member can be a Karta. By agreement between the co-partners, any junior male member can be made a Karta by agreement between the co-partners. Any junior male member can be made a Karta. In this case, we can say withdrawal of co-partners' consent is allowed at any point of time. If we see the section 21 of Guardians and Wards Act 1890, so it recognizes the competence of minors to occupy managerial position in an undivided family. That is why we can say in such situation, a junior male member can be considered as a Karta. Otherwise, if we talk about when a senior male member is there in a family and a junior male member in the family, so in generally we can say the junior male member cannot be Karta, but in some situation a junior male member can be considered as the Karta. Now when we are talking about the male, so question arises whether a female can be a Karta, because we are talking about who can be considered as the Karta. So when we are talking about whether a female member can be considered as Karta, so regarding the issue of female member of a family assuming Kartaship, there are certain discussion in the Supreme Court of India as well as the High Court. Firstly, the Nagpur High Court once held that though a mother is not a co-partner, she can be the Karta in absence of male member. But the Supreme Court reversed the decision of this Nagpur High Court and said that no female member can assume Kartaship whatsoever is the situation and whatsoever is the reason. So we can say that a female can be a caretaker of the family, she can look after the family, but when the question arises whether she can be considered as Karta, so the Supreme Court held no, the female cannot be considered as Karta. Now we will see what is the position of a Karta in a Hindu family. As I have told you, the Karta is a term sui generis, means of its own kind. The relationship between him and the members is not like principal and agent partners in a partnership firm, but he is considered as head of the family and he act on behalf of the family. He work for the welfare of the family because his relation with the other member of the family is a fiduciary relationship. But for that we cannot say that he is a trustee and he is a partner, but being elder of the family, it is his duty, it is his obligation that he will look after the family, and whatever he is doing he will do for the welfare of the family, because he is having a fiduciary relationship with the other members of the family, and nobody can question what he spent unless the charges of misappropriation arises. When any co-partner charges of improper alienation made by the Karta, so the burden of proof lies on him to prove such a malified act of Karta. So until and unless there is a charge on the Karta that Karta has act malifiedly or has done for the misappropriation, till that his act will be considered as the welfare act for the family. Now, what are the powers of the Karta? Powers of the Karta there are various powers we can say, but these are with certain limitations. So when we talk about the powers, so we can say, firstly, the power of management, power of representation, power or right to compromise, power to refer a dispute to the arbitration, power of acknowledgement and to contract debts, power to enter into contract, and the power of alienation. So first, as I have told you, the power of management, like it is clear by the word managerial power, because Karta is considered as the manager of the family. When we are saying manager of the family, it means all the powers related to the management of the family are within the Karta. In that we can say the Karta is having the power of management because he is the head of the family. His management powers are absolute. He may manage the family affairs and family property and business the way he likes for the benefit of the estate, and no one can question regarding the management of regarding his power of management. Then we come to the right to representation. He represents the family in all matters like legal, social and religious. He can enter into any transaction on behalf of the family, and his acts are binding on the entire joint family. That is why we can say he is having a right to representation. Then power to compromise. He has power to compromise all dispute relating to family property or their management. He can compromise pending suits, family debts and other transactions. However, if his act is not bona fide, can be challenged in a partition. So we can say, because I have told you he is a manager of the family, he is having a right to represent the family. So in that way we can say, because he is managing the family, he is representing the family, so in that manner he can compromise all the things related to the family, and he is having a power to compromise. Then power to refer a dispute to the arbitration. When we are talking about he can manage all the disputes related to the family regarding the management, so we can say when it is considered by the Karta that he do not want to go for the litigation, so he can go for any kind of dispute which he wants not to go for the litigation, he can go for the arbitration. So Karta has the power to refer any dispute to the arbitration, and arbitrator's award is binding on all the members. Okay. Then the power of acknowledgement and to contract debts. The Karta has power to acknowledge on behalf of the family any debt due to the family. Also has power to pay debt or to make payment of debt. He has power to contract debts for the family. Such debts incurred in the ordinary course of business are binding on entire joint family. Even Karta, when takes loan or excuse promissory note for family purpose or for family business, so joint family is liable to pay such loan. So it means we can say, like we can correlate all these things, like he has a power to compromise, he has power to contract on behalf of the family, he has power to represent the family. So when he is doing everything for the benefit of the family, for the welfare of the family, so he can acknowledge anything. He can acknowledge the loan, debt on behalf of the family, and other family members will be bound by the decision or the acknowledgement of that Karta. Then power to enter into contract. Karta has a power to enter on behalf of the family because he is working for the benefit of the family. So for that purpose he can enter into any contract on behalf of the family. Then power of alienation. Nobody in the family has power to alienate joint family property. However, Karta has power to alienation under 3 circumstances, like if there is any legal necessity for the benefit of estate and indispensable duties. So in these 3 situations, the Karta has power to alienate the joint family property. Otherwise, as general rule, we can say nobody in the family has power to alienate the joint family property unless and until there is a requirement in under these 3 situations. Now we come to we have seen powers, we have seen who is Karta, what is his position. Now we come to the topic under this, like what is the liability of the Karta. Like the powers, Karta has vast powers. Karta has liabilities related to that, like liable to maintain, liability to render accounts, liability to recover debts due to the family, liability to spend reasonably, liability not to alienate compulsory property, liable not to start new business, like all these liability. So first, liable to maintain. Liable to maintain all the family members. It is his duty to give equal maintenance to all the persons of the family. If he improperly exclude any member from maintenance, he can be sued for maintenance and also arrears of maintenance. So it is his liability to maintain the Karta in to maintain all the members of the family. Then liability to render accounts. As long as family remains joint, Karta is not supposed to keep accounts, but when partition takes place, at the time he is liable to account for family property. If any of the co-partner is not satisfied with his account, can institute a suit against Karta to discover the truth and to know any misappropriation is made by the Karta. So we can say in generally when he is managing the family, so he is not liable to make accounts, but the situation arises if any case is against related to the misappropriation of the property against the Karta, so he has to show the account. So it would be better if he renders the accounts from the beginning. So it is his liability when it is asked from the karta to show the like accounts, so he has to show the accounts. Then like liability to recover debts due to the family. Karta should realize all debts due to the family with a reasonable time, but should not allow them to bar by limitation. Then liability to spend reasonably. Karta has vast power regarding the management of the family, but it does not mean that whatever he is spending for the welfare of the family, whatever he is doing for the family, he can spend the thing in any way. There are certain liabilities. As I have told you, the powers are not absolute. These powers are under certain limitations. So liability to spend reasonably, because it is a duty of every person who is spending on behalf or who is working on behalf of any person, so he has to do the things reasonably. So when we talk about the he has to spend the money, he has to spend the certain thing on behalf of the family, so he has to spend the money reasonably. As karta of joint family has control over the income and expenditure of the family, he is considered as the custodian of the income. So however he should spend family funds reasonably and for the purpose of the family only. Then liability not to alienate co-partnership property. As I have told you, generally the karta do not have a power to alienate the property, joint family property, unless it is for the benefit of the family. Estate for necessity, karta cannot alienate joint family property without the consent of all the co-partners. So with the consent of other co-partners, the co-partnership property can be alienated by the karta. Then liability not to start a new business. Same, unless adult co-partners of the family expressly or impliedly consents, karta cannot impose liability on them that he want to go for start a new business unless and until they do not consented for that. So today we have discussed this topic of karta, who is karta, who can be considered as karta, and what are the powers and the liabilities of karta. I hope you all have understand all the things related to the karta, and we will come up with the next video on the another topic. Thank you.